Hello friends. So far on this channel we've been overly critical of PlayStation and Xbox, but I think it's time to share the love. Let's look at a third-party developer, Ubisoft. This is a much more lighthearted approach. I'm not really going in. I just want to talk about the absolute flop that was Star Wars Outlaws, considering it's a Star Wars property and it has not performed well. And the reason why I also want to talk about it is I have never mentioned really that Ubisoft contacted me to play this game in advance. I got to play this game over a month before it came out. I even got to record my own footage, and it was a disaster. It was not a good experience. I want to talk about it and what happened. My gameplay was glitchy and buggy and just a mess. They sent me the footage too, and I really wanted to show you guys, but the link they gave me expired, and I can't download it anymore. It's such a shame, and I'm just gonna have to explain what happened in my game. But as a big Star Wars fan and also someone who was looking forward to Outlaws, yeah, let's react. So Star Wars Outlaws has sold just 1 million copies in the month since it launched. 1 million in a month for a huge Star Wars and Ubisoft release is criminally low. Ubisoft is in such a rough spot right now, and I do and I don't feel bad for them because I really like Ubisoft. You know, despite all of the terrible practices that they have done, the sheer amount of flops and how repetitive their games have become. At the same time, they've given us a lot. A lot of my favorite games came out of Ubisoft Studios. I mean, I am a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and Black Flag are some of my favorite gaming experiences growing up and helped solidify me as a video game fanatic. I still remember in Assassin's Creed 2 trying to collect every single feather. And I did it, but then my Xbox got red ring and I lost all my progress. And also Ubisoft, I've made many videos in the past on my main channel about how much I appreciate their support that they've always given Nintendo. I mean, you look at the last few generations of Nintendo consoles and the third-party support just hasn't been there. But Ubisoft, we had Red Steel at launch with the Wii. Pretty sure that was Ubisoft. We had Zombie U on launch with the Wii U. I mean, who else was supporting the Wii U other than Ubisoft? Rayman was one of the best games on that console. And then even on the Switch, we've had cool collaborations like Mario and Rabbids, and Nintendo really appreciating Ubisoft for everything they've done and allowing them to use the Mario franchise in their own game. I really do admire Ubisoft as a company for many reasons. But for as many reasons as I admire them, I also am ashamed to admit that I like them. So the Ubisoft CEO went on record recently blaming gamers for the poor sales of Star Wars Outlaws. After the low sales of Star Wars Outlaws, the Ubisoft CEO said the gamers have extraordinary expectations and that delivering solid quality is no longer enough. Yeah, I don't think that's what happened here, I'm sorry to say. I don't think the solid quality was there. I want to stress for anybody who might be new to this channel, I don't give two squirts a piss about the rhetoric online and the agenda that surrounded this game following the main character's gender. I honestly don't care who I play as in a video game. That's just how I've always been. And if it comes down to female, male, or anything in between, I don't care. If the game is fun, I don't understand the stress. I've been playing Metroid games since I was a kid, and Samus is one of the most badass characters in video games. I have posters of her hanging up in my bathroom, which sounds weird. I just needed art in there. The walls were blank, and I just so happened to have the Nintendo exclusive posters on standby, and I put them in the bathroom. It's not what it sounds like. So yeah, I really don't care about all of that. Just to clarify, the reason why I think the game did bad and why I didn't want to play it is because it just wasn't fun. It was another repetitive style of Ubisoft game where it just created this unnecessary grind loop of filler content and bland characters and bland world and bland storytelling. And I feel bad because people work hard on these games. They work hard to give us these experiences, and in certain ways they shine through. I remember playing through that demo a month beforehand, and I was impressed by the world building and the way some of the cantinas looked. But the actual game, I mean, I got my hands, first look on the game, and I was bored in the first 10 minutes. I kept asking the guy that was helping me through the demo, the guy working for Ubisoft, are we gonna get to any action soon? Am I gonna get to play the game at any point? Or is it all just moseying around and watching cutscenes? And he kept saying things like, oh, there's maybe like half an hour more of dialogue and then you can get stuck in a ship part. And I was like, oh, this is what you've chosen to show me? So I slogged through that 30 minutes and then the ship part was just a little bit of on-rails blasting where I had no exploration, and then I was right back into dialogue again. I don't have the footage that I played anymore, but they did send over generic B-roll for me to use, and that's still available right now. But I remember this part right here is the very start of the demo that they had me play. This is where it began, 1 minute 50 in. And you're supposed to do this where you like Deadeye, which is just lifted from Red Dead, and kill all 3 of these people at once, and it just wouldn't work. And after about 2 or 3 minutes of struggling, the guy that I was playing with that was watching my gameplay, he goes, oh yeah, that glitches sometimes. Yeah, okay. We were off to a bad start immediately. The rest of the demo is, I mean, you can imagine me playing this for the first time. And just as we're clicking through, you can see it's just moseying gameplay, a little bit of code cracking, dialogue, moseying gameplay, a little bit of code cracking, dialogue, moseying gameplay. There was my ship part that I finally got to. And yeah, it was just on rails. You know, I didn't want to be mean and I didn't want to judge the game based on the first hour. So I didn't say anything about it online publicly. I talked about it on my podcast a little bit about how I just didn't really enjoy it, but I thought the world building was cool. And again, as you can see here, I mean, the world building is cool. A lot of these areas look really nice and they feel very Star Warsy. But the whole time I was like, this is the hour you gave me to play. Of all the game you could have just thrown me into for a demo so that I could go away and talk about how cool the game is. You started me right at the start and it's just boring. So in lieu of Star Wars Outlaws doing so bad, they actually decided to push Assassin's Creed Shadows back 3 months, taking what they've learned from Star Wars Outlaws to polish it even more, which is so bizarre to me. I don't know where we're at with video games now. I know technically a job is never finished. Right? Even on my own videos, I know there's always more work that could be done, but at some point you just need to release the video. You can't keep spending time on it. Maybe that's just what this is. Maybe they're just at the point where like, it is complete. Sure, we could spend more time on it. Of course we could. Of course we could make it better. Of course we could polish some things, but at some point we got to get this game out. And I guess that's what they're talking about. It's just tough. You know, because we've come from a different era, I think. Me being mid-30s now. My birthday's this month, actually, as of today. 10 days. 10 days to my birthday. Growing up with, like, Nintendo games, or even just any company's games back in the day, a game was done when it was done. You know, a game was finished when it was finished. There was no rushing it out the door. There was no meeting deadlines. Well, there was. I mean, we had situations like E.T., but I'm just saying the good games and the big releases, like, especially from Nintendo, they weren't released until they were done. And then you couldn't patch and polish and fix them later. There was no DLC on the N64. There was no patch updates on the Super Nintendo, Dreamcast, Mega Drive. You just got what you got. And it's just so crazy to me to be like, yeah, our game's finished, but we're going to delay it a few months so we can finish it. But I'm glad they're taking extra time to polish it. It's what Nintendo would do. Hopefully in that 3 months, they can really shine it up. I am excited to play this game. Again, it's so bizarre to me. You know, I want to stress, I really don't buy in to any of, I mean, I don't even like saying the word, but it is in the title right here. I don't buy into any of this crap. I'm just excited to play a fun game. And I've been looking forward to playing this game. The idea of playing an Assassin's Creed game with 2 characters, one being stealth focused and one being more of a brute, that baseline is interesting to me. Everything else, don't really care. I don't really care. So if the game is fun, that's all I care about to an extent. I mean, sometimes, you know, sometimes. To an extent, sometimes. In this case, if the game is fun, I don't care. When has Assassin's Creed ever been historically correct? The first game had a magic apple in it. Also, they said they're releasing it on Steam early now too, this Star Wars Outlaws game. So initially, they were going to do timed releases on Epic like they've always done. But now, when it comes to the Steam release, I think they're really trying to polish and fix this game up and release it day one on Steam. And moving forward, it seems like even with Assassin's Creed and other games, they're releasing it day one on Steam. I don't know if that's going to help them at all. Going back to the 1 million copies sold, and you even compare it to like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I don't know how many sold units it had in the first month, but apparently it was the best-selling Assassin's Creed game at launch, and it went on to make over $1 billion. I mean, they had some microtransactions in there, but for all intents and purposes, this was a success. This Assassin's Creed game, 17 games in, was a success. And then this Star Wars game with the same formula was a flop. I think Ubisoft, with all of their resources, all of their talent, they really need to go back to the drawing board with their video games. And I don't know, man. Play some other games. Go and do some market research and see what other games are out there that are fun and that people are actually enjoying. And then maybe try and implement some of those aspects into your game. I mean, baseline, it's not our fault it's not selling. The games just aren't good. Bethesda just released a big patch to Starfield, but apparently it's already not winning fans over with an already catatonic game, which, yeah, I mean, that game is also pretty much dead in the water at this point. This is a cyberpunk situation all over again, where the game releases, nobody really likes it, it's dead, and then you're just hoping that the developers can save it. Apparently, Cyberpunk is a lot better now, but I still haven't gone back to play it. I know I really should, and one day I will. I hope Starfield can get to the point where it's the game that all of us wanted it to be, and we can go back and play it. I asked on Twitter on a Dreamcast guy tweet, because he was playing it, if this is something that I can start a new game and get all this new content from the start, and it's all filtered in, making the world and the game bigger, or if it's something that I have to play a lot and like do late game. And apparently you have to like beat a decent chunk of the game and then some of that content gets filtered in. I don't know if that's enough for me to go back to it. On the horizon for Ubisoft, the biggest release is this Assassin's Creed Shadows, and then we have a bunch of DLC for games. And I know we're still waiting to hear about the new Prince of Persia remake, Sands of Time or whatever. I hope Ubisoft turns around their image, but with how hyped Star Wars was, for it to turn out how it turned out, I can't say I have a lot of faith. And there's also so many great samurai games right now. There's a new Shadows game coming out pretty soon too. But what do you guys think? Did you guys play Outlaws? Leave your comments down below. And also let me know what you want me to talk about next, because I will. Like, comment, and with a very greasy hair flip on that subscribe button. I think my hair just like stayed in place then. And I'll see you guys next time.